This year's E3 has actually brought some overall impressive showings, and I don't say that lightly. Compared to last year's Cringe Fest, this year was actually done very well, excluding Bethesda's of course, and EA Play and Ubisoft had its issues. However, every year there is that one question: who has won E3? And well, I believe we have our answer this year. Today we'll be covering the Square Enix E3 presentation, and why it may very well be a contender for the best E3 conference of 2019. They start off by jumping right into what we want to see, Final Fantasy VII the remake, and wow, I did not expect them to show this much of it. The biggest worry I had for this game was how they're going to handle the combat, and luckily that worry has been buried as this gameplay reveal has eased my suspicions. It's a big jump from the strategy turn-based combat from the original game, but they've also kept that original combat as a endgame option for those who want it. In fact, they actually improved upon it. Now the revamped combat is now action-based with hotkeyed abilities, but there is a function where you can actually pause in the middle of combat to choose your thing, just like classic Final Fantasy. Now I may have to make a video covering just this title and going over the in-game mechanics that they plan on implementing into the game. Now overall, it was an impressive showing, kicking the Square Enix conference to first place for me, but it doesn't stop here. This was just the first announcement. Life is Strange 2 was the next game they showed. It's a episodic game that I'm sure you've heard of at this point. Now I haven't played the previous games, but I may end up actually checking them out. I mean, who doesn't want superpowers as a kid? This game fills that exact scenario, and I'm interested in seeing how it plays out, so I'm actually going to look into this game. They go on to talk about Crystal Chronicles, which is a port from an old GameCube game, which was actually a very popular GameCube game. I actually did play a little bit of it. I don't remember too much of it, but I actually might check this out too, since it does have some childhood memories hooked to it. The Last Remnant is a JRPG, Japanese role-playing game, being remastered for PS4. It's actually out now. They released it the moment it was revealed at E3, which I really do appreciate. It actually adds a couple points to this conference for me. Now I've never played Dragon Quest Builders, but they've announced the sequel and it actually looks really good. Seems like a big upgrade compared to the first one, and it definitely seems interesting, especially if you're into the sandbox RPGs with a Minecraft-like aesthetic. I really am going to check this game out. I meant to actually check out the first game, but I never got to it. I'm saying this about this one, I'll probably never get to it, but I'm gonna try to. Now I'm a big fan of racing games, and luckily we're getting one. It's called Superstars, and it's actually a top-down arcade-like game, which there are very few of those, and I used to love playing the hell out of them, and it seems kind of interesting, so yeah, I'll give it a try. After that, we see Babylon 1944. It's getting some new content. Now this is a World War II multiplayer first-person shooter. It's kind of similar to Call of Duty's World at War. It's actually very similar to that. It has the same feel, same gameplay, just very low quality compared to Call of Duty. Now it's getting better. At first, when this game released, it was criticized pretty heavily, and now actually I'm hearing it's a good game. I haven't played myself, so I can't say from personal experience, but from what I'm hearing from the fans that love playing the game, it's actually getting better. I might actually have to check it out at some point. Now Kingdom Hearts 3 is also getting some fresh DLC. I haven't played it yet simply because of the mere scope of the game it is and the time it would take to fully beat the game, but I may end up jumping in at some point. Though I'm sure Kingdom Hearts fans are gonna love this, and that's another good thing that for the conference. It adds a point to the conference. Even though I don't personally play the game, I know that the fans will truly like this DLC. Now if you're a fan of MMORPGs, massive multiplayer online role-playing games, and Final Fantasy XIV might be a game you want to look at, especially since they just released their next expansion called Shadowbringers. Well, it's not out yet. They're getting the next expansion. It's called Shadowbringers, and honestly, I'm a big fan of Final Fantasy XIV. I used to love jumping into MMOs. I've played them all the good ones. None of the recent ones, but you name Guild Wars 2, ESO, Warcraft, you name it, I've probably played it. And so this does interest me. I haven't played an MMO in a while because there's so many games out that just require so much of your time. So I really haven't had much time to sink into an MMO, but I may go back to check this out, though it does have a subscription base. And now if you didn't know, when this game first released, it like a while ago, it released to hell. It was very bad game, but then the developers shut it down and they came out and they remade it, and now it's actually very good. It's very story driven. It's one of the few MMOs that actually have full out cutscenes like this game does, and it's one to look into. After that, they go to show basically the same exact trailer for Dying Light 2 that we've seen before. There's a few new things in there, but not much to grab our attention. Now, I'm very excited to play this game, don't get me wrong, but I really had hoped they would actually show off some more gameplay, which they didn't, because last E3 they actually showed a little bit of it. So if we saw some gameplay, that'd have been cool, but they didn't. Now, I'm not sure if they had it on the showroom floor, they might have, but I can't really give this conference a point for Dying Light 2 because they didn't go above beyond. They just showed us stuff we've seen before. Now, like I said, if you're into Japanese role-playing games, then this is the conference for you. There are so many that I don't think I'm going to include them all, only the ones I find notable. Of course, I'll put a link in the description to a video that will give you all the details you need about all these great games, because I am a big fan of JRPGs. That's not why I'm skipping over them. There's just so many of them that I can't give all the details about them, so let's go ahead and move on. The next game that really steals my attention is Outriders. It seems like a looter shooter type of game. It's for sure a 3-player co-op shooter, but it has a single player option as well. It's supposed to have a dark world. I can't wait for this one, but I'm gonna have to since we won't play it until the summer of 2020. I hate when games do this, but it's for the best, so they can make the game as good as possible. This game looks so badass. Again, I really wish we could have seen gameplay for it, man. I love looter shooters, you guys know this, so you already know how much I'm going to be anticipating this game. Let's just hope the loot is done right. Now, they also announced a Final Fantasy VIII remaster coming to PS4, which is actually really cool. I didn't actually expect this. Now, I'm not a big fan of Final Fantasy VIII. I've played through it. I don't remember too much of it, but it's kind of the black sheep when it comes to the Final Fantasy series. Not really, I guess, but it sort of is. And it's kind of cool that they're actually paying attention to a lesser liked title. Finally, they end as they started, on a high note with the highly anticipated reveal of Marvel's Avengers, the game. It's hard to put my finger on this game, what exactly the gameplay will be like, but it will actually be a multiplayer similar to Anthem, which kind of worries me. It's a live service title, and since loot, I don't know how they're gonna do loot, if they're planning on doing loot. I wonder how the mission structure is, and actually we do know a little bit about the gameplay. I might make a video going separate over that. I've not seen it personally, but I've heard some of my favorite YouTubers who actually seen the private showing of the gameplay of this game, and they actually said it makes them a little bit more optimistic, so I might actually go in more depth on what they're saying. So expect that. If you do want more info on this Avengers game, let me know, because this game does really seem badass. What I've heard from it and what the combat seems like, what I've heard the combat's like again, this is me saying, this is hearsay, I've not personally seen it. I'm gonna be impressed. I can't wait to try this game out. As you guys know, I liked Anthem and I wanted it to succeed, but it didn't. It might later on, but it's not right now. So this might actually make up for that. And it's a Marvel's Avengers game. It's hard to believe that they would ruin this game. And I hear the developers are really backing this game pretty hardcore. So I can't wait to see how this turns out. Now, overall, Square Enix conference has obviously stolen the light from everyone. I mean, Ubisoft had a good conference, don't get me wrong. Now, Nintendo blew it out of the park with their reveals, but I think this conference just comes off stronger, I guess. Now, I know Cyberpunk 2077 was a big reveal for Xbox, but I still don't think it comes close to Final Fantasy VII, as that's a game we've all been waiting for a long time. So I think this year, the winner of E3 is hands down Square Enix. Now, you guys may disagree. Let me know in the comments below. I'm sure a lot of you do. Most people seem to like Nintendo, I guess. So just be sure to let me know, because I'm extremely curious what your opinion is. Now, my next video, I'm not sure what it's going to be. I might cover Ubisoft's conference and Nintendo in the same video, or I might just put out my Dauntless Weapon Guide. I'm still working on that, by the way. It's almost done. I just have a few finishing touches I need to add up, so I might end up finishing that. I do want to do a top 3 games where I go look in depth on some of the games that we don't know much about at E3. I'll go and dig up as much information and bring it out to you guys, so I'm looking forward to doing that. If there's any games you would like me to look into specifically, maybe do a little bit of research on, let me know in the comments below, and I will go ahead and look into doing that now. Thank you guys for making it this far. Thank you for watching me, and I hope you come and join me for the next video. I'll see you guys later.
I got broads in Atlanta, just to lean the family, credit cards in the scammers.